Welcome to Alla Fedele cooking channel. My name is Fidel. I'm not a chef, but I like to cook. I make a lot of my mom's recipes. They're very simple to make. You pick up a couple ingredients at the supermarket, bring it home, put it together. You're cooking, eating, usually within an hour. So today is Sunday. I'm going to be making a focaccia. This is not your normal focaccia that you would see in pizzeria and stuff like that. This is more of a higher 3-inch thick focaccia by 14-inch. I'm making it in a paella pan. Now I will be putting all the ingredients on this video, but you can cut it in half if you want. 1 pound of dough instead of 2 pounds of dough. I like using gold medal. I found it to be one of the better ones. I've tried the 00 for pizza. I've tried Peckers. I just find for whatever reason, this one becomes pretty nice and high. You can get it in, I guess, every supermarket. This is on the East Coast, New Jersey, so I don't know what you can get in your supermarket where you live, but this is what I use. It's been around 100 years. My mom used it. So this is the pan that I'll be using. It'll be about the same height and the thickness. I measured it, it was 14 inches. You can use a smaller pan, but you need something like this, of a type of a pan, because it does grow. So we're gonna be starting with one of the things I'll be putting in is potatoes. So we're gonna start by getting our water. I put it in the microwave and I got it up to 90 degrees. You don't want to go no more than 100 degrees. If so, you add water or take some out and add a cooler. But you should be checking it. If you go over 100, it's going to kill the yeast.
What's the lowest you'll accept? So 100, you can't go over 100.
I do about 90. Same thing if you're going to do it with the potatoes. What the potato does is it makes it like spongy and air pockets, and it makes it a consistency being a little thicker. It's hard to explain it, but I'll show you when I cut the slice later on. This whole process, I know it's going to sound long, it's 3 hours start to finish between boiling the potatoes. Then what I do is I take these, I put it right in the freezer to cool down real quick. Then I'm going to put it through my mill. I use this in my other video, vodka sauce, to show you how I put my plum tomatoes from the can, run it through. But I use the smaller hole one for that, so the seeds and the stems and or the center of the plum tomato doesn't go through, which I find with the seeds it makes the sauce a little bitter. So I always make, with plum tomatoes, my sauces, I put it through my mill. You can pick one of these up in a Italian store, a Best Buy, a Bed Bath and Beyond, sorry, or Amazon will have it. It's a food mill. Passa Tutto is what.
So you went with the larger, like, whole size, yes, for the potatoes, right?
What this thing is, you pop this, it's spring loaded, and you take this out, and I have 2 more that go down. This is the largest one. You just put it back in, like that. It's got the little nut, put it through the hole, you put it down there, it hooks on, you squeeze down and move it over, and it locks itself in, see? And just turn it and pushes it through. And it comes out on this end. These are nice if you put it on a pot, sauce pot. And that's it. As you can see. All right. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the yeast.
How much is that?
A teaspoon. And where did my knife go?
It's back there.
So I'm going to measure 4.5 teaspoons.
And it's how much water?
I have 1.5. Depending on the dough, you might add some more water if the dough is too dry later on. It's a small can, so it's hard to get it.
And do you have a specific yeast you prefer to use, or any yeast that you get in the grocery store?
I use this brand, Caputo makes it. You can buy it online. I got this on Amazon. They make the flour too. They make gnocchi flour. For pasta, they make a pizza 00. So here I want just a half. So I have it written down.
4.5?
4.5 teaspoons. And that's it. I take it and mix it for a minute. I'll let this break down. You can also, if you don't want to buy this type online, Fleischman's is another one you can buy in the supermarket, usually in a refrigerated area where there's the butter, the eggs, I guess. So this comes in a 3-pack. They're all next to each other, and I find if you use these, I've had them written down, 2 packs of these you can use instead of this. But I like this. You don't taste it as much, the yeast flavor in your focaccia. Okay, I'll let that dissolve. So I'm going to use now 5 cups of flour. Three. 4. 5. Then I'll use this for some of this for the tabletop. Okay. And we're going to we need 2 teaspoons of salt. So I'm using sea salt.
Is that just a preference you have, or?
Yeah, I like to use sea salt. I pick it up in a Portuguese fish store, and I like to cook with the sea salt. It's a nice flavor. Okay, then I add a little bit of oregano. This just makes this is the fresh oregano that I get on the branches. Just it adds flavor to the focaccia. I'll be putting some on top. I get it like this. It comes on the branches, and then what I do is I just shake it like this. It settles to the bottom. I cut it and I put it in here. I'll be doing that later because I'm running out. Okay, so.
And so you did what, like just like a little palmful, like a tablespoon, or how much?
I would say a tablespoon for the 5 cups. This is 2 pounds of flour. It really comes out. This focaccia is really great. So when it comes out thick like that, what we do is we cut it in the middle, open it, and we put cold cuts in it. You can do prosciutto, you can do supersad, you can put salami, you can do turkey, you can do ham with fresh mozzarella, some roasted peppers if you want, arugula, and you make a sandwich out of it. I'll show you later on in the video. So again, it's 3 hours, start to finish. This takes about an hour to do the potatoes and everything. And we let it rise for an hour, and then we let it cook for 40 minutes, and then to cool, so another 20 minutes.
So we're doing this for lunch, right? So you started doing the potatoes at what, like 9 a.m.?
9 o'clock I put the potatoes in.
So you just diced them?
I diced them into a cube, 2 potatoes, All right, and then I boiled them till a fork went through. I would say boil them for about 7 minutes. And then they should be ready. Strain them and then let them cool down.
So is there a problem if it's, number one, if it's not hard, if it's too hard, you're not going to be able to get through.
Go through the mill here.
And then if it's too soft,
then they become really like a mush.
Yeah.
So I peel them, I boil them. When the water comes to a boil, I just set it for 7 minutes. After 7 minutes, I pierce a fork through the thickest potato. And if it goes through pretty good, then it's ready. See? I'm just taking it, putting it through. And it comes out the bottom. Make sure you get it all. Now you can make focaccias. Most focaccias, they come out they make them without the potato. And you can do that too. I'll make another video without the potato. And what I use, I make a Barre's focaccia. That's with tomatoes and olives on top, but the focaccia is low. Okay, so I mixed that, I put that all in. Now I'm gonna add my potatoes.
So as of right now, you've got the flour, salt,
oregano. I'm going to put the yeast. Pour that in a little bit, then I'll add more. I'm going to hook it up to the machine. I have a KitchenAid. Now, if you don't have a KitchenAid, you can just make a mountain on the center of the counter here, like a volcano of the flour. Open it up so it's shaped like a volcano. You put in your potatoes in it and you add all your ingredients. And then you start spinning it with a fork so it mixes together, and then you work it in the dough. I'm just saving a little bit of time by doing it that way. I add a little oil. I'll add like 3 tablespoons of oil into the sauce, dough. Okay. Now we're going to turn this on. This is an older KitchenAid. It's my mother-in-law's.
Now this is mixing. What is it that you're looking, like what kind of consistency are you looking for?
Into like a dough. It'll be a little dry, rough a little bit, but then we're going to work it on the table.
So you're pouring slowly a little bit at a time. You didn't just pour the whole thing of...
No, just to get it going first. And just put the light on.
Yep.
Then if I need more water, I will add some.
So you're just working some of that drier bits off the side?
Yeah, and underneath a little bit. Just watch your hands. You could even slow it down. So it looks like I need a little bit of water. I'm just gonna double check it. No, I think we're good. I just gotta get the bottom up. So I'm trying to spin it around.
Just working some of that flour back up to the top.
Yeah. And so we'll just turn it for a minute. Then we'll put it on a table. Okay, let's see how we did. Take the hook off. Just gonna squeeze this together.
As a person who has very little experience kneading dough, what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get it all together, the flour and all the ingredients together. Now that we got them all together, it's just easier to do it this way if you can do it. If not, you know, your hands are all sticky from the dough and everything in the beginning. So we'll move this out of the way. If I need flour, I have it right next to me here. Sometimes you do. So we're gonna start working the rest of this dough in there. And you gotta push down, bring it around, push down.
So you're folding and then pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Until it becomes a nice dough. It becomes smooth and elasticy. And you're gonna work the glutens.
Keep putting your legs into it, you'll work the glutes too.
Yeah. It's a workout. So when I was, my mom used to make this years ago, and then she stopped. She got older, and it was kind of not made anymore. So in 2007, we're in 2020 right now. I went to Italy on business with my brother, and we stopped in a town where I remember when I was a kid I would go visit. My mom's sister lived there, and where my mom grew up. So my brother took me because he's been there a few times, so he knew right how to get there and all. So we went and we saw the house, and we were outside, and we said, remember the lady that lived across the street? She was really a good friend of the family. They always was selling all kinds of vegetables, whatever they grew. They had farms in Italy, and they would go out to the farms every day and hoe to the ground and do what they had to do. See, what I'm doing is I'm bending it over and pushing it into the center. And I'm using my palm to push it down. See how it's starting to come together now? So this takes about 15 minutes. And you really got to work it. So I said, I'm going to ring the bell and see if this lady's still alive. She's got to be in her 90s. So me and my brother go up the steps. I ring the doorbell. This woman comes out. I'm thinking she's gonna have this, you know, this white hair in a bun. She's about 3 feet tall in a black dress, you know, like you see on TV and all. Well, she opens the door. The lady's like 5'11". Well, she's all dressed because I guess she was out. And I looked at her and I says to my brother in English, I says, nah, that's not, you know, the lady probably died or something. And all of a sudden, the lady, now I haven't been there since 1973. It's 2007. I was 14 at the time when I was there. The lady yells my name and jumps on me. She was so excited that she almost knocked me down the stairs. long story short, we go in the house. She invites us in. Come in, come in. I go in and she has this focaccia on the table, and a dish, a big bowl of broccoli rabe. So I go, oh my God, my mother used to make this focaccia. So I said, she don't know how to explain it, you know, as far as what all the ingredients, like how much of each. So I invited her and her husband to come to America. I said, you know, we'll pick you up at the airport. You come and stay for a week with me, a week with my brother. So they said, we never left our town. You know, we worked all our lives to run all year the farms. They had a couple of big farms. So they never been to Naples. They never were to Rome. I'm like, you're kidding me. So it's still a little sticky. So I'm just adding a little flour now. But I got it together. See how it all came together? So we said, have one of your children go to the travel agency and, you know, make your tickets, make your passport, come by us. So next thing you know, they decided they were coming. But they were afraid to get on a plane. They'd never been on a plane. So my brother decides to go to Italy, fly there, stay a week or two. We have family there, and pick them up and take them back. So they came. So the first day they came out, my brother lives an hour from me, and he brings them up to my house, and she walks in the house. On the table here, I have everything ready to be made. She explained what she had, what you need to put in it. So I did a trial run. I made one or two and figured something wasn't 100% right until she came and showed me. So I had everything ready. I had the volcano, the yeast, everything ready. She rolled up a sleeve. She did bing bing. My wife videoed it, and we figured out how to make it, and the rest is history. But I've been tweaking it here and there a little bit. I used to put more water, and it took a while to get it to come together. I would wind up adding more dough. So I finally got it down now. 5 cups of flour, 4.5 teaspoons of yeast, and 1.5 cups of water instead of 2.5 cups of water. And then I started adding a little oregano to it. So now, a little olive oil, which she did. That's why my station is called Alla Fedele, because everything has to be tweaked to my likings. So I'm gonna let it rest for about 5 minutes, then I'll work it again.
So do you need to cover it or do anything like that?
No, I'll just leave it like this, 5 minutes. And when you push down and it doesn't come back up, then it's pretty much ready to go.
Okay.
So, let it rest, come back, work it for another 5 minutes, and then I'll put it in the pan, put it in the oven with saran wrap on it, let it rest until the whole pan, from this size, it'll go to 14 inches and 3 inches high. And then it'll be ready to put olive oil on it. I have fresh rosemary, salt, and oregano. That's it. They used to put plum tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. You cut them, you lay them on top and bake it. I don't use tomatoes anymore on it, but you can. Okay.
Alright, so we'll come back in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, I'm back. It's 5 minutes. I just want to work this a little bit more, and then I'm going to let it rise. See, it's not sticky anymore. It's perfect. So that 1.5 glass of water, I think, is the perfect amount for 2 pounds of flour. One thing I forgot to mention before, the potatoes, after I boil them, they have to cool down because it's very important. Make a little mark on the side of your notes if you're taking notes, that if the potatoes are hot, which I did one time in the beginning, I boiled them, I put them through my mill, I added it right away to the flour, I added the yeast, I made the dough, I put it in the pan, and it stayed like this, flat. I couldn't figure out what I did wrong, so I contacted my brother. He's an engineer, not that engineering a food or anything, but he knows a lot about a lot of things. Anyway, I asked him, my dough didn't rise. I don't know, you think maybe the yeast was old or something, but I checked the date when I bought it, blah, blah, blah. He said, I told him how I did it. He goes, you killed the yeast. I said, how did I kill the yeast? He goes, you put the potatoes in and they were hot. You can't do that. You have to put the potatoes in when they're cool. Same thing with the water that you, mix the yeast in. It can't be no more than 100 degrees. It even says on the packets of the yeast not to raise it. They give you an ideal temperature. So
when it starts to get too sticky like that, you just sprinkle
yeah,
a
I
little
just
more
add
flour.
a little bit of flour. This ain't bad at all. A lot of times it's really sticky. It used to when I added more water. But I think this is good. Okay.
So for you, this is more of like a Sunday kind of treat, right?
Yeah, because during the week, 3 hours, what time we're going to be eating? 10 o'clock at night by the time you get home. I'll tell you what, you want to make a quick focaccia? Brendan, can you get that pan that you like to make the focaccia?
Yep.
I pick up these focaccia. You can go to any pizzeria and they will sell you a pound of dough. Just walk in and say, can I buy a pound of dough? The other one too, the stone one, underneath here.
Oh, no.
So this is one, it's my mom's, she's had for years. It's called a barese. If you go on YouTube, you can see Barese, barese focaccia. And you'll see in Italy they're making them. They're flat, and they put tomatoes, a little oregano on it. There's so many different focaccias from different parts of Italy. There's a focaccia, it's paper thin, it's too paper thin, the size of a regular pizza, and they put cheese in the middle. What they do is they make it so thin, they put this cheese, a little oil, I think, I wasn't sure, and then another thin on top, and they make it like a, double-sided, I can't think of the word, a focaccia. So you can pick up the dough, you come home. You want to always make sure you put enough oil on the bottom. You're going to say, that's a lot of oil. Well, if you don't put enough oil, it's going to stick. You'll never get it out of the pot, out of the pan. This is stone. This is Pamper Chef. It's a stone one. But this size is good, a 2-inch. Could be aluminum, anything like that. So what I do is I'll put a half a cup of oil in here, and get the sides really good. You put the dough, you get it like this, take it out of the bag. You can just lay it in, push it out just a little, don't push down because you want it, if you like them thick. And what you do is put a little oil on top too, salt, pepper, a little oregano, some fresh rosemary you can put cut cherry tomatoes, put them on top. You bake it in the oven at 375 for about 25-30 minutes in the middle shelf in the oven. But then when I take it out, it's easy, it doesn't stick. I put it on a cutting board. I'll put 4 paper towel sheets on there, and I put the focaccia right on there. I let it sit for about a half hour. All the oil most of it will get absorbed out of the focaccia on the bottom and into the towel. Then I raise the focaccia. I take out the paper towel and I cut it in slices. I'll make one of those videos, pizza bought from a pizza store. Those are 1 pound. This is 2 pound. With the potato, it's a little different, and it's going to get bigger. So, just to show you how much oil, I'm going to show you here. Here's my 3-inch by 14. I'm going to take my virgin olive oil. I use real good. Spend a little more. Let's see what 3/4 of a cup looks like, just to give you an idea. Then I take it and I bring it up to size. You want to make sure you get the sides real good, or else it's going to stick.
So you also just take like a paper towel if you needed to, right?
Yeah, but then the paper towel sucks up all the oil. So I use my hands. I just grab some out of the puddle and I rub up the sides. And that'll keep the focaccia from sticking. So I did 3/4 of a cup of oil, put on the bottom. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit more. You'll see when you take it out, it'll be sitting on the bottom, the oil too. But I've tried to make it less oil, and one time I destroyed it because I couldn't separate it from the bottom. So it fell all apart, and I said, I'll never do that again. So from now on, so let's say on a 13-inch pan, you want to add a cup of oil. Half the size of that pan, maybe like the other one, you do a 1/2 cup. Now I'm going to pick up this focaccia, and I'm just going to put it in the center here. So don't touch it. I'm going to put it in the oven. The oven's cold. Put some saran wrap so it doesn't get hard on the top. Well, you know what I forgot to do? Put a little oil on the top so it doesn't stick the saran wrap. That happened.
Did you want any heat on the oven?
Actually, I have that top. We can use the top. Is it too hard to get? I just put a little bit so it doesn't stick to the saran wrap. You got that? I have the original top I could put on. But you can use saran wrap. Just put a little oil so it doesn't stick. So take a look at this. I'm going to show you how it looks now and what it's going to look like in about an hour. I know this video is probably looking long, but see?
Mm-hmm.
It's sliding, see? Right. That's a good sign. All right. If you use good olive oil, it's not a problem.
So this is going in the oven, no temperature?
No temperature for an hour. I'll come back and check it after 60 minutes. Alexa, set timer 60 minutes.
1 hour, starting now.
There you go. I love Alexa. She likes focaccia too.
So we'll be back in an hour?
We'll be back in an hour. Okay, so after an hour, I took the top off and I saw it still needed to rise. So what I did was I put it back in without a top. I put my oven on at 175 degrees. I set a timer for 2 minutes so I wouldn't forget. I closed the oven After 2 minutes, I shut the oven off. What I did was I just warmed up the oven to give it a little bit of heat. And it's nothing hot, it's just warm. And that helped it rise. So now, as you can see, after about 20 minutes, it's been an hour and 20 minutes, it started rising. But what I want to do is get it to the top of the pan. So it still needs about, I want to say,
Quarter of an inch.
a half inch, 3/4 of an inch. When it gets to the top, I'll take it out, because when I start putting olive oil on it, oregano and everything, and I move the olive oil around to spread it, the dough starts to come down a little bit. So what I want to do is get it all the way up and then put the stuff on. It'll drop a little and then it'll rise again as it cooks. But basically, that is it. As you can see in an hour how big it got, an hour and 20 minutes. What I should have done was put the oven on at 175 in the beginning for 2 minutes, get it warmed up, and then put the dough in. It would have been ready in an hour. I just totally forgot. There's a lot of little stupid steps that go along the way. But thank God it's on video. And what I recommend is, if you're going to make this, it's not hard. It's easy. It just takes a while. So, you know, you can do it on a Sunday morning. Put the video on, see the first steps that I do. You do the same thing at the same time. Set up everything, do the dough. After an hour, then you put it in the oven. While it's sitting in the oven, you clean up your mess that you made. Then you come back, you take it out when it's ready like this, it's rised. You bring it to the counter. I have everything ready there. Salt, pepper, oregano, and Alla Fedele again, my way. We like rosemary, so I have about a tablespoon of rosemary, fresh rosemary. I have it and I chop it real fine. I keep a plant, actually it's in my garage. I have a back door, it's glass top of the door. Sun comes in the morning. So I have a little stool, I have it on top of one of those long planters. It has rosemary and thyme. So I have it all year long, I have rosemary. And we like that. As a matter of fact, that lady I just spoke to you about in Italy that came here, and I taught her while this was going on, I called her to see how she's doing. She's in Barletta, Bari, and it's the COVID. We're in December 22nd of 2020. So I called to see how they're doing, because it reminded me of the Focaccia, and she said it's not good there. But I asked her a couple of quick questions, because I haven't talked to her about the Focaccia in a while. And she said the same thing, let it rise for about an hour in the oven, a warm oven. And I then remembered to turn on the oven. So what you do is the next phase, you would have this ready. You would take it out of the oven. You watch me do it, and you do it at the same time. That's the beauty about, you know, I'm filming this on an iPad. I have no production company, no lighting thing. It's just basic what I'm cooking like I would normally make it. So you can watch me all these steps and do it yourself. See you in a little bit. Okay, so I left it on another 20 minutes, and now it has risen evenly with the top, and you can see it jiggles, see? Now I'm going to put my oven rack in the middle. You want it in the middle. So if you put it too high, the top will brown, the bottom will still be raw. You don't want to go too low, because you'll burn the bottom and the top won't cook. So I find it right in the middle is perfect. It'll cook the bottom and the top will brown. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my oven on 375. Okay. 375.
Start.
And start. All right. So thinking after 30 minutes, you set a timer, then you drop it to 350 for 5 more minutes. Then it's usually ready. Okay, so now I'm going to bring it over to this side. Isn't it amazing how it grows? So now I'm going to, and the sides were oiled, so we're good. I'm going to take, I'm going to think it's going to be probably a 1/4 cup of oil that I'll be using on the top. I'm not sure. I usually go by eye. So a little less than this is a 1/4 cup, a little less than a 1/4 cup. I'm just going to try it. So what I do is I go around, let it fall down the sides so it helps not stick to the side walls. And what this oil is going to do is going to make the top nice and crispy. So I would say just a little more. So I'm just going to freehand it wherever. So let's say a 1/4 cup. Use your judgment. That's for this size, 13-inch. Then what I do is I use my hands lightly. Don't push down because it'll go flat. I'm just barely touching it. I'm just moving the oil around so it coats the whole top. That's it. See how I dented it just by going to look to see if it would stick. I put a little dent in it, so that probably will stay that way. Now once I got my oil going like that, I'm gonna rinse my hands. I'm going to do the black pepper first. This way I could see it, how much I'm putting on. If I do the oregano first, it's hard to see how much black pepper I'm putting on it. I'm not going to put a lot because it'll burn your lips when you bite down in it. So I'm just putting for flavor. Use your judgment again. Make it a la your way. Then I take a little bit of the salt. I'm just going to sprinkle lightly, not a lot. This is a little coarser salt. This sea salt. So then I take the oregano and I go high so it sprinkles instead of dumping it all in one spot. And I'm using about a tablespoon of oregano all the way around. I try to get it down at the edge. Now, when I spoke to the woman, Angela, in Italy, she said they don't use rosemary. She goes, "You're not making chicken." I said, "Well, we like rosemary, so I'm putting rosemary on." But she said it's normally salt, pepper, and oregano, and chunks of tomatoes. You could put cherry tomatoes. They use plum tomatoes. They put slices. My mom would do like thick slices like that. So you get like 3-4 slices out of a whole plum fresh tomato, not the canned tomatoes. Okay, now I put a little rosemary. I say about a tablespoon. It really gives it a nice flavor. Catch it around the outside. And that is it. We're going to be putting it in the oven when the oven is at 375. And then we're going to set a timer for 30 minutes. I'll never open the oven, just set it for 30. Everyone's oven is different. So I would say after 25, check it. See how, you want it like a light, real light brown. You'll see it when it's done. So when you start to see it after 25, it's still not browning, wait another 5. After 30 minutes, drop it down to 350. You want to bring it down 25 degrees because you don't want to make the top too brown because then it'll be real hard. Because you want to open this and make like a sandwich. You want the whole thing to be soft, which you'll see. Okay, so it beeped. It's 375. I'm gonna put it in the oven and we'll see you soon. Okay, so 30 minutes have passed at 375. This is what it looks like. We're just gonna brown it a little more. And so we set it for 350. And see, it's browning now. I just set it at 350 for 5 minutes and then it's done. We'll take it out. We're gonna put it on a little, whatever these things are called. My mind went blank. And then once it's cool enough that I can handle it, maybe about 20 minutes, I'll take 2 big spatulas, go in, pick it up out of the pan, put it on 3 layers of paper towels on a cutting board, and let it soak up any of the oil, the excessive oil that's underneath. Now, if you use a good olive oil, virgin olive oil, this one I use is Partana. It's about $40 for, it's this size. And this is 3 quarts, 3 liters, 3 quarts. It cost me about $40. But look at the color. You can tell it's a good olive oil. It's green. And it's got a great taste. I use this for cooking a lot. I don't fry in it, but I don't do a lot of frying anyway. But then at Costco, you can get like bottles of this. This I would put like on mozzarella, on tomatoes, you know. This one here is Valle di Mazzara. It's an area, organic. They sell, Kirkland always gets, Costco always gets from different parts of Italy every year, different olive oils. But I use that more for a finishing oil. Now I'm gonna put out supersad, prosciutto, and hot supersad. I'm gonna make a platter. I'm gonna put mozzarella, some olives. I'll put that all together, then I'll show you how we make the sandwiches. I'll see you soon. Okay, I let it cool for about 20 minutes. I was able to get 2 spatulas underneath. I'm gonna go for it. Lift it, put it on a paper towel. See, there's a little bit of oil still on there, but what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna let these paper towels absorb the excess oil. As you can see how thick it is. And we'll cut a slice, cut it in the middle, and then you can show them what we're gonna be putting in it. We got prosciutto di Parma, comes from Italy, this prosciutto. This is a Calabrese supersad, it's hot, spicy, comes narrow. This is sweet supersad, it comes round like that. It's like a salami. We have caponata, it's sauteed all kinds of vegetables with pignoli nuts, olives, roasted peppers, carrots, eggplant, capers. I buy it from, they make it really good. This is a olive spread. Basically it's olives and carrots and celery as a side dish. And then you got all these types of different olives. Just a side to pick while you're eating. So I will be make a sandwich to show you and show you what it's all about. Now you can use other cold cuts or you don't have to use any cold cuts. You can just slice it and eat it like that. You can put grilled vegetables in it. You want to do roasted peppers and mozzarella with arugula. I'm going to pull out some arugula. I forgot the arugula. Use whatever you want. If you don't eat meat and you're a vegetarian, put whatever you want to put in there. Roasted peppers, sun-dried tomatoes, or plain. All right.
Okay,
See, so I took a slice, I cut it out. So this is what it looks like. About 3 inches thick. The seasoning, that's what the bottom looks like. I let them sit on a towel, paper towel. It sucked up a lot of the oil out. so it's not bad at all now. So I take it, I cut it in the center. And you see with the potatoes how it makes it like a spongy kind of consistency. Doesn't fall apart. And now I'm going to add the cold cuts to it. I'm going to put a couple slices of the hot, a couple slices of the prosciutto. I'm going to put a slice of 2 mozzarella, some arugula, and that's it. And there's your lunch or your dinner. Thank you for watching Alla Fedele, making focaccia from Bari area. I know it's 3 hours of processing, but again, if you follow as you make it, when I make it, you'll get through it and you're gonna love it. There's nothing like this type of focaccia. And as my mom would say, mangia figlio mio, mangia. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'll be putting out some more recipes soon. Ciao.